Good afternoon, everybody. Welcome to another edition of Webinar Wednesday. My name is Brandon Lilly, and I am joined today by Jessica Carter. Jessica, how are you?
Great. How are you?
I'm doing quite well.
Good.
Today, we're going to be talking about fitness marketing, some strategy tips and tricks, folks that own gyms or are personal trainers, things like that. You guys are going to love these tips. Now, if you're not in the fitness industry, these tips can still apply to you. There's a lot of different information that we're going to be going through, and a lot of this can be applied towards really any business. So let's go ahead and jump right in. You can follow this presentation. You can follow us along at m360.us/04c4. Again, that's m360.us/04c4. Now, Jessica, before we jump in completely, I want to kind of identify what our focuses are here. Now, you're kind of an expert in the fitness industry, so I love that you were able to help us put together some of these important focuses and kind of narrow this for us. So let's talk about this here real quickly. Obviously, the first and most important thing is to have an initial offer, that clients can see in order to engage with you, something that's actionable. We're going to talk about follow-up and how to use email and SMS campaigns in order to convert leads into customers and to increase your lifetime value. Mm-hmm. We're going to talk about your social media presence and then how to use digital marketing and which channels to use best. Anything else you want to cover before we dive in?
No, that's a really good high-level overview of everything.
Excellent. Okay, so let's go ahead and move on to our next slide here. We're going to talk about the initial offer, and this is how people kind of get to know you. So walk me through this, this idea here. You've got a couple of different examples, a couple of different initial offers. Walk me through this. What is an initial offer? What's it look like, and why do we use one?
So the idea is that somebody's going to get to know your gym or your studio so that they're actually going to be able to spend some time there, because if they're going to commit to a monthly membership with you, especially at the price points that memberships are typically these days, they need to know that they are going to feel good going there multiple times a week. So there's a couple of different ways that you can get them in the door. One offer that I've seen a lot of success with is $30 for 30 days or $20 for 2 weeks. Some kind of really low price point where people can come in and go to multiple different types of classes. And one thing that I've seen a little bit more success with this offering versus like a free week or a free class is that there's a little bit of a buy-in incentive. So whenever somebody pays for something, they're much more likely to go. Versus having like a free week or a free class where they may come in one time but not really get to know you. Having a little bit of a buy-in and a longer time period gives them the opportunity to try multiple different class styles, meet multiple different kinds of people, that kind of thing. Or if you're a gym that offers personal training, that's another great incentive because it gives them that one-on-one time with you to get to know your staff and get to kind of know the vibe of the place that you are so that they can hopefully become a lifetime member.
I love that. I think that's a great example. Yeah, a free week or a free class can be really valuable, but I love that you say that you need people to have that personal buy-in, right? I think we've all done this. A friend puts up an event on Facebook and we're like, we're going, and then we don't show up,
Yeah, exactly.
Kind of the same thought here. Mm-hmm. It's really easy to download a coupon for a free class or for a free week or anything like that, but there's no incentive to use it, and the only incentive is your own personal drive. Mm-hmm. Let's be honest, that's not always what's really going to get you into the gym, right?
Mm-hmm. But if you paid a little bit of money, you're more likely to go. And that doesn't mean it needs to be really expensive either. It can be something small like $20 for 2 weeks.
Excellent. I love that. So what we're talking about here is the initial offer. This is how people connect with you and what those ads kind of look like to drive some interest. Now, we'll talk about this a little bit later, Jessica, but I think that when we're looking at this offer, we're not talking necessarily, billboards, posters, radio ads. This is more of a social targeting ads or a social media kind of advertising push, correct?
Yeah, exactly. I've seen a lot of success using social media, particularly just because people are on their phones and looking at Facebook or Instagram all day, every day. So if they're repetitively seeing your brand and getting that reminder, and especially if they've been thinking about joining a gym or they're new to the community or they just moved into town or maybe their friend goes there, it gives them that kind of little nudge that they need to come and check you out.
Excellent. And we'll dive into that a little bit more here later. Let's go on to our next slide. I think we've got an example from YogaPod. Jessica, walk me through this landing page here.
Yeah, absolutely. So the idea is to make it simple. So if I see a $30 for 30 days offer and I think to myself, like, okay, I'll give that a go. I definitely have time over the next month to really dive in and get to know this studio. When I click on that ad, I want to end up in a place where it's really easy to sign up and there's not a lot of commitment with it. So we put a really simple offering. It's just a sign up form. And this doesn't even necessarily mean that you're committed to doing $30 for 30 days. But this is what gets us your information so that the gym or studio can follow up with you on a regular basis and help you get to know them as a studio. So what styles of classes that they have to offer, who their teachers are, what's a good idea to bring to your first class, that kind of thing. So offering really helpful information instead of a ton of promotional information, because now I've already shown interest in doing $30 for 30 days. So now the idea is to get me to actually come into the studio and take advantage of it.
Now, you had mentioned originally there's not a lot of commitment on the page, and I think what you mean there is that you're not really asking for a lot of information. So we're really reducing the friction of the landing page.
Exactly, exactly. And I'm not asking you to purchase it right now. I'm just asking you to enter your information and share why you're interested.
Excellent. All right. So again, we're talking about the landing page here. This is after the ad. So you've already seen the ad, whether that's on Google or Facebook or Instagram, something like that. Click on it. Takes you to this landing page here, and now we're talking about next steps. Now, Jessica, correct me if I'm wrong, but as a part of this, because we're not asking for the credit card yet, we're not really asking for them to purchase something. You're using this, and you've seen this used with great success across the board, kind of as a lead funnel to capture other information so you can use that for the next pieces of your marketing campaigns.
Exactly, exactly. So now that we have your contact information, we're able to email you or text you in order to get you to kind of get to know the studio a bit better, to really drive that incentive to come in more. And then additionally, once you actually do come in and take advantage of it, that we can continue to communicate with you and share more about who we are and why we do what we do and why you should become a member.
Right, because not everybody is going to, they're not going to convert the first time, right?
Nope.
So we've got to capture that information and nurture the leads. And I believe on our next slide, let's move on to that, we talk a little bit more about that. So Jessica, walk me through this slide. What are we looking at here? How does this benefit me as a gym or a personal trainer? How can I use this?
So we have some really great tools here at Marketing 360, two of which being email marketing and text message marketing. So we typically ask users to text a keyword to get a coupon in order to take advantage of the $30 for 30 days offer. So what that does is it gets them into our SMS system. They're already opted into our email system. So now we're able to email them. And on top of that, our systems allow us to automate those emails. So they'll receive an email twice a week. And then once they actually come in and take advantage of the 30 days for $30 offer, they'll actually receive emails throughout the life cycle of their 30 days with the studio, ending with a membership offer. So that gets people a great first-time membership. So it makes taking that next step, they've already entered their information, and now they've given you a chance to actually come in and try it out. But now we're offering them a discounted membership offer, kind of easing their transition into becoming a member of your studio. And we mimic that funnel on the text message side as well. So offering great little tidbits and you don't want to be super aggressive or promotional about it. So what to expect for your first class, because in the case of YogaPod, if you take a hot class for the first time and you don't know what to expect, you're not going to have a good time because you probably didn't realize that you're going to get in there and it's going to be 115 degrees and that you wanted to drink water beforehand and you should have a cold water bottle on hand and that you're going to need a towel and those kinds of just little details that help people have a better first-time experience and get them to come back and try other classes because they had a great first experience with you.
Excellent. And we've actually got a live question here from Wookie Feet. Wookie Feet, welcome back. How effective do you think the email nudge is? So Jessica, I think that's a great question for you. For campaigns that are running that maybe aren't using automated email versus campaigns that are, what's the difference that you see and what kind of emphasis would you put on the effectiveness of email automation?
We've definitely seen a huge lift in conversions and driving people through email and text message. It adds that extra touch. And especially for if you are a unique studio and you offer unique class types or unique offerings, that's a great way to educate your potential client on who you are. But even more powerful we've seen is the text message. That actually is how we feel that we've converted the most amount of people, because 97% of people look at their phones and look at their text message before they look at their email. It's almost instantaneous within the first 5 minutes. So if you have a unique offering, they're going to see it through text message. But to get them to opt into our SMS campaigns, we use email first, which works pretty much all of the time.
So walk me through that real quick. If we're trying to drive people to sign up for our SMS campaigns. Now we're collecting their emails from that form based on the landing page that we looked at before. So we collect their information. That's their email. You can't collect a phone number and just add someone to an SMS campaign. So that we can't do. But we got their email. How do you use email to get people to sign up for SMS? Walk me through, give me a couple of step-by-steps there.
Yeah, absolutely. So first I enter my name and my email into the form. Then I'm going to get a welcome email immediately, which is kind of, people expect that. If they don't receive a welcome email, then they feel like they've done something wrong or haven't filled out the form correctly. So we can automate that where they instantly receive that, where you as the business owner aren't responsible for sending that when you receive that form. And in that welcome email, we offer a coupon code for the 30 days for a $30 offer. And it doesn't have to even be a real coupon code. The idea is just to get people to opt into our SMS system. So they'll text yoga30 to 39970 to get that coupon that they'll show at the front desk to claim their offer. So now they're in both our email campaign and they're in our text message campaign, so that we can really communicate with the consumer in the way that's best for them. Because some people do lean towards email. They check their email regularly, and some people lean towards not checking their email ever. So now we know that we can communicate with them in a way that's convenient for them.
Excellent. Excellent. And great question. All right. Let's go ahead and jump over to our next screen here. We want to talk about the social media presence. And Jessica, I think you can agree with me that this is probably one of the most important pieces. Yes, you need to be able to capture the data, the email, the SMS. You've got to have that all-encompassing marketing campaign. We'll talk about that a little bit more about the the different campaigns to use or different channels to use and why. But talk to me about our social media presence. Why is this necessary, and what are some best practices here?
So there are tons of gyms in pretty much every area. So you're constantly going up against a pretty steep competition. So the idea is to develop that brand awareness, and that's where social media comes in. So being sure that you're regularly there, staying top of mind, where potential clients and members can get to know you and who you are, what values you stand behind, what kind of class types you have. All of that type of information is really important to come through social media. Excellent.
And we've got another question here. Have you noticed, or do you have a preference for emails or texts that are more professional or seem a little bit more like an informal kind of personal message?
We've seen a lot of luck with humor and informal messages, and particularly sharing personality. So all businesses have a personality behind them. And the idea is to share that so that people that are in alignment with that, who feel good about that, who share those same values, become members of your studio or gym. So being yourself is really important. I definitely wouldn't say that there's any particular type of thing that you want to embody, but you do want to share a variety of promotional posts, value posts, as well as kind of community posts too. So you're sharing who's part of your community, why you guys do what you do, why you offer the classes that you offer, and what is unique about you as a studio or gym.
Right. There needs to be a level of professionalism, obviously. Yeah. You're a business. So there needs to be some semblance of professionalism. That doesn't always have to come from the copy or the content. That can be portrayed in the design, that can be portrayed in the layout, just how the information is getting across, things like that. So personally, I love the more personal interaction or personal types of emails and touches. And there are studies out there that show that even just starting an email with someone's first name or starting a text with a first name, the lift in open rates and response rates that you see is incredible. So I think consumers too are looking for that more personal kind of touch.
Yep, exactly. And they want to see things that identify with who they are. So if you're adding in that first name, like if I get an email that says, "Hey, Jessica, we think you'll really like this," that sounds so much better than just an email that like lists off offerings.
Dear user, and it's
Yeah.
not going to get you anywhere.
Yeah, not as good.
All right. So walk me through some of the examples you have on this page. It looks like the first two are for the same offer, and then we've got one that maybe we would refer to as more of a cultural, more of a community post. Walk me through these.
Yeah. So these kind of touch on your point, Brandon, in that it's not always about what you say, but how you say it, and that there is a professional manner to do it. So you'll notice that we are super consistent with our brand guidelines. We use very specific fonts throughout so that we can keep that brand awareness consistency, and so we can add that professional element to it, but that we're doing it in different ways. So obviously the first image is more community based. That for me personally, that incites a feeling of community and getting to know my neighbors or other gym members or making new friends. Meanwhile, the second one is driven more towards people that would be interested in the fitness aspect of YogaPod. YogaPod not only offers amazing yoga classes, but they also offer fitness-based classes. So we want to make sure that we're expressing that when we develop advertisements for them. And then the final one is more of a value post. So we're identifying with people that are our type of community for YogaPod, essentially. So it's not necessarily an advertisement, but people see that and they know YogaPod, and it still might bring to light, oh yeah, I do need to take advantage of that $30 for 30 days offer, even though it doesn't directly say it.
Excellent. So that's more of a reminder. So let's talk about the marketing campaigns a little bit. Obviously, it looks like, if I'm not mistaken, it looks like these are for Instagram or maybe for Facebook. Is that correct?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
So
yep.
Aside from the social media, what do you see, or what do you kind of believe are the top marketing channels or digital marketing channels for fitness, yoga, personal trainers to be on?
Social media is definitely number one. Absolutely. That's where we've gotten tons of our brand awareness and the majority of our conversions. But the real trick is to be firing on all cylinders. So you want to make sure that you are on Google, that you are retargeting to folks, that you are on Facebook and Instagram, that you're working on your SEO so that people can find you organically as well, because they're going to need several touch points before they actually commit to even coming into the studio for the first time, let alone becoming a member. So it definitely starts with social media. But then later, what likely will happen is somebody will go back and Google you. So you need to be there after they've already gotten to know you and decided that they want to learn a bit more. And then they need to be retargeted too. So making sure that you're consistently showing up and staying around, because fitting fitness into your life is difficult as is, let alone making it into a gym. So if you're consistently following up via retargeting, that's a good sign too. And then, of course, reputation management, making sure that you have good reviews, that people are saying good things about you. You know your potential students are going to be looking at that. So that's the idea, is that they're really going to check you out in multiple spots. So making sure that you have a strong presence in every single area is really important. And you'll notice that when you do that, all boats rise.
Excellent. And for those of you who are interested and you want to talk a little bit more about the marketing opportunities, you can always reach out to us at Marketing 360, www.marketing360.com/start. You can just fill out some information right there, and we'll help craft a plan for you using this information here that Jessica's been talking about. Additionally, Jess, you mentioned reputation management. So I wanted to throw a little plug in here for Top Rated Local. If you are looking to generate more reviews and you need a place that's business friendly to house verified reviews, I highly recommend topratedlocal.com. It is free. There's no additional cost for that, so you can sign up for a profile. I think you can see a lot of value there as well. So let's move on to our next slide here. We've got a bit of a graph, and Jessica, I think that this really fits into what you were just talking about, is how all the different channels kind of fit together. So walk me through this this slide. What am I seeing here? What happened to, obviously we see a big increase. What caused that? What is the increase? Just walk me through this.
Yeah, absolutely. So this is essentially all of our channels working together. And really what this big increase is getting into that 3-month mark of just continuing to chop wood, making sure that you're in front of your community on all bases, and that momentum started to take hold. So we started to grow organically because people were searching for us after they'd seen an advertisement they were targeted to, so they visited our website more often. They came through our social channels. They came through our events that we were putting on. So all of the marketing channels working together and really starting to take hold. So it's really about that, just continuing to be consistent in all of your channels, and you will see that momentum start to take place. And it really does just take off if you continue to work hard.
I think one of the key things to see here is that, we see a big increase and then we see a bit of a dip where it kind of levels out. But something to note there is, you see that decrease, and that's kind of consistent for many marketing campaigns. You kind of skyrocket and then you level out to what's, actually working for you. But that gray line there, that line of conversions is significantly higher than it was in the previous period, maybe even the previous 60 days. So talk to me a little bit about that. What did you see here?
So that was also, as we started implementing the $30 for 30 days, we started realizing that the free week wasn't enough time for people to come into the studio. And so this varies for every gym or studio. You're going to find what intro offer works best for you. And when we started implementing a little bit more of a buy-in where people were spending more time in the studio, and as all of our channels started to really function and perform, particularly you'll see in the green space, that's our SEO, that really started taking off and helping people find us more and more easily.
Excellent. And we've got two more questions. Let's see here. First off, do you think that yoga is kind of on the rise? I know we're using YogaPod as an example here, but do you feel like that's generally on the rise kind of across the board? Is this more of a fitness industry thing? It looks like yoga studios are popping up on every street corner. So what do we think of there? And how do you future-proof your business against this influx of new gyms, new personal trainers, new yoga studios? How do you future-proof your marketing?
So to answer the first part of your question, yes, I think yoga is on the rise. I think that people are looking for alternate forms of working out. We don't all just want to go lift weights anymore. We want, a variety of different things. So yoga is definitely gaining popularity, but has been popular for a long time, really. And so I would say, it's definitely on the rise. But that said, so is everything else. Pilates is on the rise. Orange Theory is on the rise. 30-minute workouts are on the rise. Personal trainers are getting bigger and bigger as people are realizing that they need to do more with less time. So I think now is a great time to be a part of the fitness industry. People are really, really taking note of what health means to them. And then to answer your second question, how do you, protect yourself against all of these? I think that really comes down to the community. So developing students that align with who you are and what your mission is. There is a different type of fitness person out there for every style of gym. And the point is to find them, connect with them, and have them feel comfortable staying with you. So that's where it comes down to that social media presence, making sure that you're finding people that align with who you are and what your values are, and getting them into the door in the best way possible and making sure that they have a great experience, and then giving them a great membership offer so that they continue to use you. It takes 30 days to form a habit. So you need to make sure that people continually come in, because once that habit is formed, it's a lot easier to retain those members if they're coming to you consistently, no matter the type of fitness.
And now we're looking at lifetime value. You could, and I don't know what these numbers look like, but you could say, and I've heard this plenty of times, it costs too much to generate a new lead. They're only paying $30 and it costs me $60 to get them. In my opinion, that's a really short-term way of thinking, because you need to look at how long they're there. And that needs to be a part of your strategy too. You need to be thinking about that, because if they're only coming in for 30 days and then they're bailing, well, maybe that's something that you need to consider. Is there something you can change in your business? Is there more follow-ups you could do? Like you said, maybe they did pay $30. I'm sure we've all done this. We've paid money for something, a gym usually, and then we just never go, right? And you never go, you never see the value there. So having these, the email follow-ups and the text follow-ups, I think can really help to build that lifetime value. Because you need to get people back through your doors.
Yep, exactly. So that's the idea, is that during that 30-day period, you're following up with them repetitively via text message and email, so that they're becoming entrenched in your brand, entrenched in who you are. They understand all of the different offerings you have, the different class times you have, how that fits into their schedule, how it's going to make their life better. And the more that you can make your client's life better, the more they're going to be on board with your brand, and the more they're going to come in. And you'll find once you get people that use you regularly, whether they're a fitness addict or they've never actually committed to a gym before, they'll stay. They'll stay if they feel good about what they're doing, and it's worth it to them and they see the value in it. But the point is that you got to get them there in the first place, and that's where marketing comes in.
And keep this in mind, on average, it costs 5 times more to generate a new customer than it does to keep a current one. So
Yep.
sure, it may have cost, 2, 3, 4 times the amount of money to bring that customer in, but lifetime value and over time and developing this community, that's where that value really starts to pay off and they become a great customer.
Yeah.
And then if they refer other people and they bring in
Mhm.
family and friends and what's the cost to that, right?
Exactly.
What's the cost of referral marketing?
Yeah, referral marketing. And I mean, when you're talking, most gym memberships are 100 to some dollars each month. I mean, if it costs you $60 to acquire that person, but then they pay you $100 over the next 12 months, that's $1,200.
Mhm.
So you've more than gotten your investment back. And like you said, Brandon, let alone the people that they've told, the reviews that they've left that have helped sell other people. So it's kind of that momentum-based process that we really focus on.
Yep. I would do that all day. If anybody out there would like me to pay them $60 and they pay me $1,200, I'm all about that. So just leave us a comment. We'll set that up. And interestingly enough, that actually leads us into a couple other questions. First, before we jump into this, is how do you feel about social influencers versus kind of that organic content? I know we've talked a lot about building the community. How do you feel that social influencers impact that? Is it negative? Is it positive? Or do you prefer to see that kind of grow organically?
I would say both. You're going to want both. So, I mean, if you have access to a social influencer, that's just another facet of community, because that's what they're doing to you, is they're speaking to their community, touting your brand and getting people to come in the door. So that's a great avenue. I wouldn't say it's one versus the other. You need both. So then when somebody sees that influencer who says, such and such gym is awesome and I love going there, what are you going to do after that? You're going to go Google them and you're going to check them out. And if you're hard to find, or you're on the third, fourth, fifth page, or you don't have an advertisement there helping you, or I don't see you on social media, that interest is going to flitter away.
And I think we can look at it like this too. A social influencer doesn't have to be somebody with 100,000, 500,000 followers. A social influencer can be someone who is passionate about your brand and speaks about it, right?
Yeah.
So personally, I think you should turn all of your customers into your social influencers. Give them the tools, give them the freedom and the ability to speak about your business. And one of the best ways to do that is to start by having a fantastic business that people want to talk about.
Yep. Yeah, exactly. I mean, I love YogaPod personally. I'm a member myself, and I have probably told, hundreds of people about it. So, I mean, me by myself, and when you think about it, if every single one of those customers loves you and loves what you have to offer, they're going to do the same.
Great segue into another question. How do we feel about word of mouth, referral marketing? Is that something that we normally, or that you would encourage people to incentivize? Or so refer your friends, get $10 off your next month's membership, or more along the lines of something that happens organically. What's your opinion on that?
Yeah, absolutely. If you can offer any kind of incentive, that helps a lot, because people are busy. And so if they have a reason, just like we were talking about with the buy-in for the $30 for 30 days, if they have like a little bit of a push, they're more likely to do it.
And I don't think it needs to be something that's done all the time. Maybe it could be that, I don't know, maybe here in Colorado, I would say that probably the summer months are probably the lowest signups for yoga and fitness and things like that, because people are going out, right? There's plenty of things to do in this state, great outdoor activities, but then so maybe that's the time to do an incentive, a referral incentive to bring people in, versus January. Probably not the time to do an incentive, because those folks are coming in regardless.
Yep, exactly. I mean, we saw a huge influx of people who, were wanting to get ready for their New Year's resolutions. But in the summer times, or times where you need a little extra juice or a little extra boost, offering incentives like that can really help keep those leads coming in the door.
Excellent. So be strategic about how you're trying to generate referrals, and be strategic about how you're communicating with your customers, and to give them the benefit of the doubt.
Yep.
Let's move on to our next slide here, and let's kind of sum this up. Jessica, if you were able to kind of wrap everything together, what would be your key points you want people to remember, and what are their key takeaways?
So always be firing on all cylinders. Make sure that you are dominating the internet space as well as your community, getting those referrals out there, making sure that you are consistent. And then making sure that after you've put all of that hard work into those areas, that there's an easy intro offer for somebody to get to know you, as well as a no friction interest form so that you can gather their information and continue to communicate with them. And then frequently follow up. So obviously not on the aggressive side, but in a way that you're continually touching those potential members and sparking their interest, giving them new reasons to be excited about who you are.
Excellent. Excellent. All right. Final slide here. You guys can find this presentation again after we go offline here at m360.us/04C4. We have additional resources, youtube.com/marketing360. You can also go to marketing360.com/start. Jessica, I want to thank you again. Thank you so much for being here. It's been a real pleasure, and I think there's a lot that everybody can learn from this. I want to thank everybody so much for watching, and happy marketing.